Hello and welcome to Upfront, episode 4. My name is Corey Williams. This is Liam Santamaria. And this is Tommy Hirsch. We're here to discuss Grand Finals Games 1 and 2, Adelaide versus Melbourne United. Look, though I have on a Melbourne United hat, it's not because that's my team. You know what I mean? It's just a nice hat. It actually matches what I'm wearing. But anyway, forget all of that. We're here to discuss what's been going on. What's going on, fellas?
Well, you have stepped it up to another level today, bringing in the Hershey bar. This man knows what he's talking about. You've read him on nbl.com.au throughout the year, and I'm a little intimidated.
Well, you know what? That's what this show is about. Whenever we get on this show, we got to level it up. We got to give the people what they want. That's why this show has been created. And that's why you gentlemen are here with me, to help give the people what they want. Let's get into it, fellas. Game 1. Melbourne United beat Adelaide 36ers. Your thoughts?
Well, they held serve, right? That's what Melbourne did. They held serve, and Joey Wright said after the game he felt like maybe his guys were a little anxious, and I reckon that was a good call. They were a little... I wrote that they were reactive, and that's not Adelaide 36ers basketball that we've seen all year. They've not played that way. Daniel Johnson was not where he needed to be, and he and his friends on the pick and roll action, getting up and doubling Casper Ware, Chris Golding. They were getting pushed around on the boards, and Melbourne, the seasoned pros that they are, came in and took care of business.
Yeah, you saw that. Joey also spoke about like the lack of energy a lot during that game. And that really shone through, I think, at various points in the game where it was almost like Adelaide was taken out of their normal style of play. They were almost nervous to kind of push the tempo like we normally see from them. And that just allowed Melbourne to really kind of dictate the tempo and then make that run, obviously, in the third quarter.
You know, for me, all you guys, everything you said was right. But I think Chris Golding was a big key factor into that. Early when Casper Ware went down, I really thought he was going to be done, because when you got a giant like Matty Hodgson that fell on him, the way he fell on him, I thought it was over. I really thought it was over. So it was great to see him back on the court, although he's not 100%. But you'll take a 75, 80% Casper Ware, you know, any day playing, because he's that good of a player. And he came in and still finished strong. But Chris Golding opened that game up in the third quarter with some key shots. Adelaide missed a lot of assignments. They let first of all, you cannot let Melbourne shoot 30-plus threes. That's the biggest mistake. They didn't defend the three, and that opened everything else up. And the way they play, which I don't like that style of play, but that's what they do. Switch everything. Melbourne United is smart. They were just picking it apart. You got a 1-5 pick and roll, they switching it. Come on, man.
Yeah,
come on, man.
And Dean spoke about that pre-game. I spoke to him last week about the bench unit.
Yeah,
he was looking forward to that matchup for Dave Anderson for exactly that reason. You know, he knew they were going to switch and take advantage, and we saw exactly that in the third quarter.
Exactly.
And ate that small ball lineup up. He just ate it up and went to work. And Joey didn't want to switch those pick and rolls. He made it clear after the game. Hershey asked him, "Do you need to change what you're doing on the pick and roll action?" He said, "No. I just need the guys to do what I told them to do, and then we'll be fine. At least we can see then." It was like what Andrew Gaze said about the Kings earlier in the season defensively. It's like, well, we put in the game plan. You guys have got to execute it. And they did that in game 2. They doubled that pick and roll, got the ball out of Casper Ware's hands, and they are long enough, fast enough, and athletic enough to scramble and rotate out of that. You know, you've got Daniel Johnson and Majuk Deng and these guys scrambling and rotating. They did that way better in game 2.
I mean, game 2 for me, it was a thing of beauty to watch. It was beautiful basketball as far as the way Adelaide came out. We in your ass, and we are not losing today. We're going to dictate the tempo on both ends of the court. We're going to take you out of what you want to do, and we're going to win. And that's exactly how it went, start to finish. That was superb basketball by the 36ers.
Yeah, and you could just see it coming and building because Melbourne was able to withstand that for a long period of that game.
Yeah, they were.
And then, with like just over 3 minutes left in the second, it was a 3-point game. And then, bam, they had a huge run. It's a 16-point ball game at halftime. You kind of looked around and said, what just happened?
Well, what happened was Casper Ware's third foul. Casper Ware's foul trouble was... I mean, Adelaide played great.
Yeah.
But Casper Ware's foul trouble and Josh Burns' back injury was the difference in that game for me.
Yeah.
Adelaide did what Adelaide do. But if Melbourne... For me, personally, if Melbourne are at their peak, they're going to win this series. And they weren't at their peak because of those two things. Now Boone's back injury, that happens. You can't do anything about that. Where's foul trouble? I mean, Dean Vickerman had some things to talk about that after the game. The first one, blocking out Shannon Shorter, he kind of grabbed him, fair enough. The second one, Nathan Sobey kind of got
tangled up. Got tangled up. Got tangled up.
I mean, he did what WARE does to other people, right? And so he got him. Okay, fair enough. The third one, though, that call, Sobey driving it left towards the baseline, Casper Ware sliding his feet, took the shoulder into the chest.
Yeah.
Massive, massive call. And like you say, it was a 3-point game at that point. 3 minutes later at halftime, it was a 16-point game with WARE sitting on the bench. So that was a big... You talk about a moment that changes things. That was a huge moment. And Melbourne, I think, will take some confidence out of it. You know, you talked about New Zealand, say, you know, we beat ourselves a few weeks ago.
Right.
I think Melbourne will be looking at that game and going, yeah, we were down 27, but a couple of calls go our way and we play a little bit harder on the defensive rebounds. We're right in that ball game.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, you know, it was a great game. You know, they fought. Melbourne United, they're the best team in the league. They fought. They did what they needed to do. But I told you guys from the beginning, this is going 5 games. It is extremely difficult to win in Adelaide versus that team. Let's hope, speaking of injury, let's hope Josh Childress is okay.
Yeah.
He's a big part of what's going on. You know, so we got to hope that he'll be we want both of these teams fully stocked, fully loaded, playing these games. We don't want main players out and injured. It changes the whole thing.
Well, let's talk about these guys. So Childress, Adelaide, he had scans last night. Adelaide reported today that there was no structural damage. But hold on, that doesn't necessarily mean he's going to play.
That's true.
I mean, that means that there's no ligament or tendon torn or things like that. But if it's popped out and popped back in, and he's still super sore on Friday, they're going to reassess.
You still want to be able to move that arm, even if it's his offhand. But that could be a huge blow for Adelaide. I mean, that takes a key piece out of their offensive lineup. Huge. But to me as well, it also creates a problem for Joey Wright, because one of the things that Adelaide has as an advantage is starting TJ at the 5 and towards the 4 means Boone has to push out defensively. Yeah. If you bring in Hodgson all of a sudden to start at that 5 spot, it just advantages Boone.
Yeah.
And then so Hodgson in that situation is going to have to step up and stay out of foul trouble, which this season we're not sure whether he can do.
Right.
And Casper Ware, I have a hard time telling whether he's right or not, because he has like a bit of a waddle at the best of times. You know, when he's 100% healthy, his kind of gait is a little
He looks the same.
So it's hard to know whether he's hip, whether he's back. And then he only the 18 minutes. And do you think he's right and ready to go?
I think, you know, the best thing right now is the schedule is in the favor for both teams. They have a lot of days in between to rest, get their bodies back to normal. Both of these teams, they have access to a whole lot of things as far as therapy and things of that nature. So I believe with this much time to rest, they'll be all right to go. I think everybody will be good to go. At least 80-90%. And that's good enough for these players. For this game.
And that's right, and I think that plays in Melbourne's hands for game 3. But then you go back to Adelaide 2 days later again.
Yes.
And then it's going to be the same problem. Like the short turnaround in these series between the Melbourne games and the Adelaide games.
Right.
What's going to happen?
It favours Adelaide. I feel like that favours Adelaide. Going into Adelaide on that quick turnaround against those Greyhounds.
And they're deep. That's the thing. They are deep. Yeah. Majuk Dang off the bench, 18. Didn't even play game 1 really. Barely played.
Yeah.
You know, so he was huge.
He was amazing.
Yeah.
How good is he going to be?
He's
in a couple of years.
Look, the sky's the limit. I had said on one game, I called him. You know, we have the term where we say he's a poor man's KD is what I said.
Yes, you did.
Now, and I said actually he's like a homeless version of KD, meaning
you took
even
it a
tenth of a percent of KD in this league, you're still legit. You know what I mean? So. I love the style of play. I love the way he's aggressive, and he's only going to get better. Look, a guy like him and Majuk, right? This is the first time it's 2 Sudanese players in the grand finals going at it against each other. There is a huge Sudanese population in this country. These guys are leading the way. There's going to be a whole lot more players, Sudanese players, in the NBL. People really don't understand how big this league is about to get. There's more teams coming. There's going to be way more better players coming in the league and getting better as far as locals are concerned. This thing is going to be serious, and it's going to be around for a long time.
I can remember about 3 or 4 years ago, Luol Deng was in town in Melbourne, and Tommy Greer and I went and had breakfast with him one morning. Huge name drop. Enjoyed that. But he was here for the South Sudanese tournament. Someone just hit him up on Facebook and said, come down, it'll be great to see you. He came down, and then he was sitting there he said, I am blown away. There is legitimate NBA talent at that tournament, and nobody knows it's there.
That's crazy.
Then, we've got Thon Maker and all these guys coming into the NBL, and it's only just going to get bigger.
It's only going to get better. The same way, Ben Simmons is going to change the whole dynamics of basketball in this country based on him doing his thing. So is Thon Maker. There's another brother as well who plays with Charlotte.
Yeah, Mango Matiang.
There you go. Yeah. You know what I mean? So they're only going to get better. And there's going to be more people that they inspire to want to play. Hence, and they're all in Australia.
Yeah.
That population ain't getting no smaller. No. So, and they love the hoop. So it's just so much talent that are untapped and untouched in this country. It is ridiculous. You just wait.
Now, hold on, before you move on, because I know you're ready to tap into something else. You tweeted some stuff about Casper Ware and Shannon Shorter. We need to get into that. I need to hear the whole.
You know what? We're going to take a break, and then we're going to jump right into how both of these guards disrespected me. Both of them. Ooh. They just cussed me. Both of them cursed me out. But look, we'll be back, and stay tuned for this one. All right, welcome back to Upfront. Where do we leave off?
Well, Adelaide, Melbourne, grand final, Shannon Shorter, Casper Ware. You tweeted that Shannon Shorter, after game 2, had some strong words to say about Casper Ware.
Basically, he said, this shit is over in 4. We handle our business here. Here meaning yesterday. We handle our business at home. We're going to win in Melbourne, and we're finishing it off in Adelaide. Casper Ware got his ass bust. He didn't do shit today. That's what he said. I said, I'm tweeting this. I'm putting it out there. He said, do what you got to do. Handle your business. So that's what was said by Shannon Shorter.
That to me is pretty big because I see Casper Ware as the key to this series personally. I mean, there's a lot of different things that are important, but if Casper turns up, if he can handle their defense, if he's fit with his hip and he stays out of foul trouble, he's a chance to win this series. And Shannon Shorter's talking smack.
Look, speaking of talking smack, all year I'm really critical on elite players in this league. I want to hold these players accountable. When they play well, I pat them on their back, so I can be critical to you. When you don't have a problem when good job, guys. You guys are doing your thing. You guys look great. Don't get an attitude when you're messing up and I'm holding you accountable. So that's all it's about. I don't take none of this stuff personal. Like, that's what I do. I talk shit. Even when I play, I talk shit. So this is just what I do. Anyway, I bumped into Casper in the club one night, right? It was about 2 weeks ago. It was the week off, I think, after they swept New Zealand. They had, because the other series were still playing. So
and they were supposedly working really hard every day, 2 days.
They actually were working hard, but I guess they had a weekend off.
You gotta work hard, you gotta play hard.
Hey, listen, look, so I saw him, and he looked at me like, this guy, so I already knew, because funny enough, people may not like what I post, but people watch. All your favorite players are watching everything I post. On my Instagram stories, I know it, and they watch it. So he's one of the players that don't like anything. He doesn't like it, and he doesn't watch it. So I thought. So one day, I saw him that day, and I was like, yo, what's up, man? I said, yo, you got it? He said, you killed my man. I thought he was going to bust your ass. He was like, gave me that look. The ball player looked like, yeah, all right. He said, yo, I didn't even care about all the stuff you were saying. All I cared about was when you said, dudes from California got it easy. I had to work hard for everything I got. That's the only shit I didn't like. I said, yo, you got it. But I said, moving forward, Shannon Shorter, what's up with that? He looked at me like, yeah, all right. No respect Didn't give Shorter an ounce of respect. So it started from there. So then, of course,
You went straight to Shannon
I went
Shorter.
straight to Shorter. I'm like, yo, Casper Ware said he gonna bust your ass. He was like, yeah, okay. We'll see what's up. This was before game 1.
Yeah.
So that beef right there, it's been going on.
And Shorter was up and about in game 1.
Shorter was up and about.
Front row of the crowd.
Talking shit, that's what he does. Flexing, it's like everybody's flexing.
Everybody's
Like a gun show.
flexing.
What is the flexing going on?
Flexing in this series. I mean, Ty Wesley yesterday on the road igniting the crowd. What is that about?
Yo,
Yeah,
you
Shannon
gotta
Shorter
love it.
started that whole flexing thing.
Casper Ware flexes.
Yeah.
Ramon Moore. Mitch Creek.
Yeah.
Oh my God! It was ridiculous.
We have gun control in this country.
Yeah.
You need to put them away.
Oh my God! So after the game, I called Shannon Shorter. You know, obviously he stated that, and he also was like, you know, my young fella, he got Instagram. He showed me everything you post. He said I was never under pressure regarding. This gets interesting. Regarding the former MVP, the former MVP leaving Adelaide, going to Melbourne, Jerome Randall. He was like, I was never under no pressure. I'm me. I came here and handled my business. So don't tell me that I was under pressure with shoes to fill. Meaning Jerome Randall. I said, my man, you were under pressure. That team, when you lose an MVP and you're coming in to fill his spot, you don't even have to be his level, but you got to live up to what he brought. And you did that by making the grand final. But you were under pressure, Shannon Shorter.
And maybe at the start of the season, but early in the year, a few rounds in, you asked Joey Wright pre-game, if you keep losing or you lose today, you're going to make changes at the point guard position. Looking back, because he kind of was like, no, like that is not what we're about. Looking back and seeing how Shannon Shorter has played out, were you jumping the gun a little with that one?
Let me tell you why I asked that. From an imports perspective, the game before that, they lost to Illawarra. If you remember, they had lost 3 in a row. The reigning MVP coming back into his building is coming to kill his old team and win. So if the guy whose spot you took comes back, busts your ass, and you lose 4 in a row, the game before that they lost. Joey Wright called out Shorter and called out DJ. So if Jerome Randall comes in the building and busts your ass and lose, you're on the chopping block. Any other country, that's how it goes. So that's why I asked that question. A lot of people weren't thinking the way, like, from that perspective. But I just understand how basketball and business goes in every other country.
Well, a few weeks ago, you spoke about the New Zealand Breakers and their situation and Paul Henare and suggested he might not coach the Breakers next season. And I was this close from straight laughing at that suggestion. And sure enough, here we are.
Yeah, it's a curious one to me. Word is he was offered an extension, possibly didn't like the terms, we're not exactly sure, and he's decided to pursue other opportunities now. What that means, we don't know. There's some speculation out there he may look at the Cairns job, but I want to know what that means for the Breakers. I mean, this is a team that's had a culture in place back to the Andre Lamanis days. It's gone from coach to coach to coach through Vickerman and Henare, the same players kind of holding that up. Now there could be wholesale changes there under new ownership. Like, are we seeing a total rebuild of the Breakers here?
It's a massive shake-up. He's a favourite son of New Zealand basketball. This is a guy who was captained the team to a championship. This is one of their greats of the clubs, the head coach of the national team. The guys love him. You know, the guys play on that team. I mean, at least the New Zealand guys. I can't speak for Sosa and Newell and Rakeem Christmas, but the rest of them love him. And my mail is that he wanted 3 years. The owners wanted to give him 1, and it fell apart from there. But you were saying a couple of weeks ago, new owners, new era, everything's clean slate.
Tell me when I can go.
You're in.
Bet. Here's how this thing works. We're going to give you a shit offer to where you're going to say, no, I don't want it. That means we don't want you here anyway. We're not going to say, based off of everything you guys just said, they had to put an offer on the table. It was just an offer nobody with that decorated background, career, and achievements would take. That's how, okay, we offered you something, you just didn't want it. That's smoke and mirrors. We don't want you here anymore. Just be the national team coach. It's regime change. When regime change happens, shit changes.
Yeah.
That's it.
Well, what's your personal opinion, though? I mean, obviously they want to do what they want to do. If you watch New Zealand all season,
I'm going to get an import coach.
An import coach.
I'm going to get an import coach.
Do you know
they went through all the New Zealand
import coach we had in this league?
Guess I'm telling you what's going to happen. They are going to get an import. They're shaking everything up. New money's involved. It's out with the old, in with the new. How did they finish up? How did they finish up?
Yeah, they finished up rough.
How many losses they had?
But boy, that's recency bias, though.
Man,
to some extent. Because I mean,
money coming in.
A few years ago, Gordy McLeod, the Wollongong they were then, struggled all season, had a big, great run at the end, eked into the playoff. Gordy McLeod was coach of the year. Flip it and go the other way, start the season hot and then fade away, and you get the axe. I mean, is there just an element of forgetting what they were doing in the first half of the year and how good a coach Paul Henare is?
Okay, so if we call it that, which I'm not doubting his coaching because, I mean, obviously he's a good coach. He's proven this. But this is sport. It ain't how you start, it's how you finish. And when it's regime change, you putting up your money, you putting up your money, I'm putting up the most money. Guess what? I want a new coach.
You're saying championship or bust once the new owners took over?
I'm just saying they want new people.
They want their people.
That's all. They want their people. If I'm putting up my money the most and I don't believe in this coach, guess what? We get a new coach. That's just how it goes.
You know what's going to be interesting though, like Hershey was suggesting before, is the fallout in free agency. So this Breakers organisation have been focused on having New Zealand players, but if Mika Vakona says, well, you know what, that was my guy, I'm going to, is there a contender over in Australia who want me for a year or two coming off veteran presence off the bench, he might just go. And there might be others that go with him. And then you might, if you can't get Isaac Fotu or the Webster brothers, you might need to start to bring in some Australia.
When you look at someone like Finn Delaney as well, who's a rising star in this league, and he's out of contract.
Yeah.
There's no guarantee. I wouldn't be surprised if Henare gets another job elsewhere that Delaney follows him up to Cairns or wherever he ends up.
I'll tell y'all something, man. Ain't nobody following no coach. Money talks. Them new owners coming in. Listen, here's what this money's looking like. What you want? This what you want? Okay, here you go. Follow what coach. Here you go. Your ass should be staying right here. You gonna play. New coach.
Really?
Money talks, man.
Jimmy Butler didn't follow Thibodeau to Minnesota.
That's a different book. He got his deal already.
And if someone
he had his deal already.
If someone signs Fernie up, you don't think,
Fern, my man Fern. Listen, money-making Mitch may not even be back in this league.
They're going to be straight on that phone to that club.
Money-making Mitch may not even be back in this league. That's a whole nother conversation we got to have. Like that's where you know the level of this league is world class. When your local players started getting really good jobs.
True.
You know what I mean? Like, when the last time you seen a lot of locals being placed in Europe high level? You don't see that. You know, you don't see it. But we got some other stuff to talk about. We got to talk about Team USA coming and our predictions for Game 3 and 4. Stay with us. Welcome back to Upfront. What are we going to talk about right now, fellas? Team USA. Huge announcement in Australia. Your thoughts?
Well, it's great for basketball in Australia, and another, I guess, feather in the cap of the NBL who helped play a part, and also Basketball Australia. I mean, it's going to be huge. You're talking about 2 games at Etihad Stadium, like 55,000 people at each game. The best that USA has to offer. Right before the FIBA World Cup next year against our best lineup, we should have like a team full of NBA stars as well. It's just a really exciting time for Australian basketball.
Mind blown. Absolutely incredible announcement and thing that they've been able to do. I mean, did you see the artist's impression of it?
Yeah.
Etihad Stadium.
That's crazy.
The court in the middle of that thing, 55,000 people, Ben Simmons in the green and gold. And I mean, who knows what names come out to play for the Stars and Stripes, but no matter what, I mean, this is the World Cup. They're going to have a very good team with very good players, and I just need to find a way to be there.
I already put in a request for immediacy.
I bet you did.
I did already.
We're like 18 months out.
I don't care who's coming. Right. But can we talk about, like, there were some reports about LeBron, KD, Steph. I mean, it is way too early to try and predict who is going to be playing for Team USA. LeBron hasn't played, I think, since the 2014 World Cup for them. There's no guarantees. However, having said
Don't
that,
poop the
they
party.
can send.
Oh, you got to poop the
They
party.
can send anyone. I just know what I've heard people buying tickets to go and see LeBron in the last 24 hours. Right? You don't want people to do that. But having said that, whoever they send, there's going to be 12 incredible players for USA and 12 incredible players for Australia.
Yeah,
It should be
on
huge.
home soil. It's unbelievable.
This may be the biggest sport event in Australian sport. Like, what do you think can match that?
Well, the Australian Open is massive.
Right.
The Melbourne Formula One. I mean, you talk about on the world stage, they are huge events.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, the fact that we're even having that conversation is legit.
I mean, I reckon you have to go back to the 2000 Olympics really to match it.
Something like exactly, man. Like,
and we got that last time, like a warm-up game before 2000 was the last time the USA guys came down to Melbourne.
Mm-hmm.
Vince Carter, Andrew Gaze, Shane Hill. Mm-hmm. That was a fun night.
An incredible announcement. And you got to hats off to the NBL, Basketball Australia, the whole, the state government getting involved. These things. We hear this announcement, but there's been a lot of groundwork going up behind the scenes, and like I said, incredible.
another reason for people to actually understand where this league is going. I've said it once, I said it all the time, but I'm gonna say it again. The NBA does not lay in bed with anybody unless it's a long-term relationship. You know what I mean? NBA is not into one-night stands. They don't have to be. They're the NBA. So if they lay in bed with you, it's long-term. The NBL is not going anywhere but up. If you can get involved, get involved. This thing is only going one way.
So do you think that we're going to see some more NBL, NBA preseason action?
100%. 100%. That's a given.
That was the word. I think Jeremy said that after this year's games. I mean, it may take a while for those games to come here, but I think we'll see NBL teams go over there again.
We want it. The NBL wants
Absolutely.
it. It's about whether that's.
But I think we'll see our teams go over there again and play some preseason games, and that's just going to keep building that relationship and building the exposure, and it's just great for basketball in this country.
I mean, think about it, okay? In a fairy tale ending, like a perfect ending to an amazing season, Melbourne United wins the championship, right? How great.
No,
I'm just saying, my bad.
Fans are not
I'm
wearing the cap.
Or Adelaide.
You're wearing the cap. You just crowned them champions.
Crazy subliminals I'm dropping here, right? Look, Adelaide, I love you guys. I really don't care who wins. I'm just saying, in a perfect world, let's just say United win it. How great does that look for the NBL? That was the team that took OKC on the brink of winning it. Even if they lost, it's still a win. So that made people be like, wow, Australia, it's a tough league. All the other things that occurred, Australian Open collaboration, open air roof game, Disney round, Globetrotters coming, and just the height of the world, the basketball that's been played. The league is just on the rise, and then for them to win, the whole story is like they were the best team in the league, actually. They took OKC to the end. That's why I'm telling you, Casper's going to be in the NBA.
Well, we talked about that.
I'm telling you.
It's win-win, though, right? I mean, if Adelaide wins, it's like, Melbourne took OKC to the...
But we beat
weren't
them.
even the chance.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? And speaking of Adelaide and these games, there's a lot of water to go under the bridge with free agency and who ends up where, but I really want to see this Adelaide team in those games next year because I want to see Mitch Creek, Nathan Sobey, Matt Hodgson, Daniel Johnson, Majuk Deng. I want to see those 5 guys in particular up against that NBA talent.
That would be awesome, They actually had an opportunity to go last season, but they had a tournament they had to do in Asia, so they preferred to go to that tournament. I forgot where it was, but it was somewhere else.
Was it in Singapore? Right?
Yeah, there you go.
4 of those 5 names you just mentioned had some sort of NBA involvement last off-season, be it Summer League or minicamp. They're all names on the rise.
Speaking of those guys, what's your predictions for Game 3 on Friday?
Well, I'll go first. I think Melbourne bounces back. I think they need to make some adjustments. They need to get some more ball movement. They need to stay out of foul trouble, first and foremost. And they need to control the boards again, which they've done all season long. But home court is a huge thing. If they can dictate that tempo as they did on Friday night, Game 1, I see them rebounding and taking a 2-1 lead.
Well, for we talked about that, I think it actually is win-win though, right? I mean, Adelaide wins, if Adelaide wins, it's like, Melbourne took OKC to the... They won't even the chance.
Absolutely.
Yeah, likewise. I mean, a lot depends on Childress and Boone and how they pull up. I mean, if one of those guys don't play, it sways things in a big way. But I said at the start of the series it was going to go 5. Each team was going to win at home, and I don't see any reason to change now.
All right, fellas. Look, listen. My prediction
Surprise
really
me.
doesn't
Surprise
matter.
us.
Well,
You got Adelaide in Melbourne?
nah, I got Melbourne.
just
I mean,
round up the champs.
Melbourne's going to win. Melbourne's going to win at home. You know, yeah, I got Melbourne winning at home.
And then game 4?
Adelaide winning Adelaide, and I'll be there. I'll be there. I'm calling the rest of the series. I'm forcing my hand. NBL, I'm telling you, you don't fly me down.
Does AJ know you're calling the rest of the series?
No doubt. Actually, AJ called me.
Okay.
AJ called me today. Shout out to AJ. But yeah, I'm just looking forward. It's an exciting time, and to have this opportunity to do this on this platform with you gentlemen, I'm appreciative of your time. We all have busy schedules, and I appreciate you guys coming here. We're wrapping this thing up. Thank you for tuning in. Nothing but love and respect, guys. Peace.